and welcome to day 4 of our colouring roulette challenge. Let's see what pencils we're going to be working with today. So we'll give the wheel a spin, and we have it's just nudged in to Arteza, so that's today's pencils. Going to remove that from the list, and then we'll go across and see which 3 colours we're going to be using. So I'm going to write these down. Let's give it a spin 3 times and choose our colours. So once again we have navy. It seems to be a very popular colour in this challenge. We've had it twice, I think, out of 3 so far. And then ochre, interesting. And thirdly, we have red violet. Okay, so I'm going to get out my Arteza pencils and see if we can pick some suitable colours. So I can't actually find my main set of Arteza pencils. I've had to go into the spares drawer, so I think I've got even less colours to work with because I believe that my spares don't actually contain all of the colours. So we're limited even more, but that's fine. We'll see what we can do. So as for the navy, I've just picked out the darkest blues that I could find, and I thought we'd have a swatch. So there's this one here, which is definitely more of an ultramarine colour. Then we've got this is called Mykonos blue. Yeah, it's not navy. It's definitely a warmer blue, whereas that one had a bit of purple to it. This one doesn't. Then we've got blueberry, which is very, very similar to the ultramarine. It's just toned down a little bit. And then this one's called indigo. So out of all of those, I think the closest we're going to get to navy is probably going to be the indigo. Then we've got the ochre. I found 2 colours, a lighter and a darker one. So this is honey. Let's have a look at it. It's a bit too yellow to be a proper ochre. And then this one does have more of brown to it, and it's called yellow ochre. So we'll go for the yellow ochre. And then finally, I picked out a couple of colours for a red violet. First of all, we've got lilac, which is definitely not what I think lilac looks like. It is definitely on the red violet spectrum. And then we've got eggplant. And yeah, I think that one is going to be the one that we go for. That has those red violet tones if we look at the colour wheel, as you can see. So that's it. We're going to go for eggplant and indigo and yellow ochre. If you're following along, those are the 3 colours you will need. The emblem that I've chosen to colour today is this one here. It's the hot air balloon. And I thought what I'd do is just quickly mark down a small sketchy thumbnail of the illustration and the colours in different patterns, and I think the yellow and the blue is going to work really nicely for the balloon itself, and then using the red violet as some little highlights on the clouds. So we're going to go for that. It's another cool tip actually. I think I learned it from Peter Hewitt, La Artistino on YouTube, and she says just do little thumbnails, very, very sketchy and rough, so you can plot out your colours and see how they look. Alright, so let's get started. So I'm going to put those clouds in first, I think, with the eggplant colour. This is A086 if you go by numbers. And I'm not sure whether this comes from the 120 or the 72 set of Arteza. As I say, I couldn't find my main set of pencils, so I'm not entirely sure. But I've got I've sharpened them, but there's a blunter side. I don't know whether you'll be able to see. It's hard for me to zoom in, but there is a bluntish side. So it's almost like a chiseled side of the pencil. And that's what I'm using just to put that really light layer in. So if you find that using the sharp point of the pencil is just leaving a bit too much of a harsh line, try and rub it against some scrap paper and just get yourself kind of a chamfered end on it, and that'll give you a nice smooth plane to add a layer on without it being harsh. So just kind of following the curves of the cloud I'm going to do the same on this side as well, leaving some white, as I always like to do. And very light hand pressure. There are areas just underneath the line that you want to colour slightly deeper than everywhere else. That'll look quite good. You can just start to turn your pencil just barely even a degree, and you'll get a slightly sharper tip just to add in darker colour here and there. There we go. So it's quite important that you do leave those little white areas. It sort of makes them look a little bit more 3D and a bit fluffier. Just adding in a little bit more pigment here and there. Just where you see fit, really. Just gauge it. Depending on your, everybody's different hand pressures and things, it'll look a bit different, but you just gauge where you are and where you might need to put a little bit more colour down. There we go, quite like that. It's nice and soft. So now let's get started on the balloon itself. So we've got our ochre and our navy, or thereabouts, colours to work on, and I thought these two go really nice together actually. It's a little bit of a beachy vibe, and instead of going obvious and going with for the ochre and the red violet, which might blend a little bit nicer, and they're on the same sort of side of the wheel, I thought we'd do the two contrasting colours. So first of all, I'm going to start off with, I think we'll do the yellow on the top. So I'm going to do this middle band here with the navy, and I'll just do it dark each side and meet in the middle nice and light. So it looks like we've got a bit of shine going on. Again, these pencils are responding really well to this paper. Feel really smooth to lay down. So I'm just looking at what will kind of go next to each other. So we'll have yellow on the top, and then we've got the blue, then we'll have the yellow here, and then the blue here. I like to do things sort of not adjacent to each other, so that it looks a little bit better, a little bit separated. So I'll do the same thing. Darker at the edge, meet in the middle. I'm not being, really precise or anything. This is just a bit of fun. Seeing what we can do with the colours that we're given. So then after that it'll be this little strip here. I might as well do the same, and then I'll change up maybe the blending direction when we get to the ochre. You can always come back in and add a bit more colour, a bit, get it a bit darker. That's where turning your pencil and getting that really sharp bit comes in handy. It just lets you get deeper into the tooth of the paper. Alright, so that's our navy bits. Now with the yellow ochre, I may even do one ochre, one navy across these stripes and then the rest of it ochre. So let's see how that might work. So I'm just going to do it dark to light from top to bottom. Yep, and then for each one of these I don't think it's going to make an awful lot of difference what we do blend wise here, because we don't have a lot of room to work with and it's a very light colour, so you can't really see any blend pattern anyway here. So maybe I'll just colour those solidly. Go. And then for this one, I think I will start off heavy at the top and just lighten it as we go down. I've gone over the lines a little bit with the navy, but it doesn't matter. And I'll do the same again here. So what I may do as well, just to tie in those clouds, is use the eggplant colour for the basket and the top. So it ties it in, but it's also darker and it doesn't look as if it's, you know, just the same shade, and we've got a little bit more to work with. So just going to fill that with the eggplant, and then the same with the basket. I'll just probably leave a little bit of lighter colour in the centre and make it darker around the edge. There we go. Don't know whether they need to be coloured, but they're going to get coloured anyway. And then I'll put in those navy stripes here. There we go, looks quite nice. Now as for these little flourishes, I may go navy with this as well, because I think that'll balance it out quite nicely. So going from a solid colour there, I'll just blend it out a little bit toward the edge of the flourish. So we've just got the faintest bit of blue on the edge. Same over here. And then yes, I think I'll do this one navy as well. As for the little splashes, I think it might be nice to do those in ochre. Because then we've got the red violet on the clouds, then we've got the navy and the ochre on the splashes, and all three colours also feature on the hot air balloon. I was going to say hot water bottle then. So it all features on each element and ties in quite nicely. This one does have some really small details, so you might not be able to achieve much of a blended look, but just try your best, keep your pencil sharp, Just wondering if I should put a little bit of this ochre in the clouds, very, very lightly, as a highlight. It may not even show up on camera, but it just underneath the red violet, it gives a bit more of a highlight to the cloud. Looks maybe like some sun is poking through. And again, it serves just to tie in all the colours together. There we go. I think that's it. It seemed like a really quick one, that. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. And yeah, it's nice and delicate. I like how the clouds have turned out. The different pressures that you use really do make a big difference to the page. As you can see, it kind of looks like we've used different colours on the clouds, but we haven't. So the pressures make all the difference. And as I say, hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you tomorrow on day 5.